The house on Whitlock Lane was a bargain. Too much of a bargain, if Tom were honest with himself. 3 bedrooms, ivy-covered brickwork, and a big old oak tree in the front garden that made the place feel like something out of a painting. The kind of house you move to when you're ready to start over. And Tom was very ready to start over. It's just a bit of a fixer-upper, the estate agent had smiled, flicking through paperwork with perfectly polished fingers. One previous owner, bit of age on it, but structurally sound. Oh, and the basement's sealed. Just so you know. Tom had blinked. Sealed. She waved it off. Long ago. Old safety regulations. Doesn't affect the property value. He signed the papers that afternoon. Weeks passed, and Tom settled in. He patched up the walls, replaced the old light fittings, and started turning the creaky old place into something resembling a home. It was quiet, surrounded by trees. No neighbors for a few hundred feet. Peaceful, isolated, just the way he liked it. One evening, while storing winter clothes in the understairs cupboard, he noticed a breeze, a cold one, like air seeping through a crack in the wall. The back of the cupboard was made of wooden paneling, but near the bottom, a section of the wood looked newer, recently replaced. Curious, Tom tapped it, hollow. He fetched a screwdriver from the garage and pried the panel loose. Behind it, brick, rough and uneven, unlike the rest of the house's cleanly laid foundation, almost like it had been put up in a hurry. Tom frowned. A sealed basement. His fingers traced along the edges of the wall. He couldn't explain it, but something about it felt wrong. Like standing in front of a closed door you knew wasn't meant to open. Still, he couldn't help himself. That night, he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thoughts looping endlessly. What was behind the wall? Why had someone gone through the trouble of sealing it and hiding the seal behind wood? The house was silent, but the question echoed louder than any noise. What's behind that wall? And in the quiet, just before sleep took him, he thought he heard it. A faint tapping from below. The next morning, Tom couldn't stop thinking about the wall. He stood in front of it just after breakfast, steaming mug in hand, staring like it might blink. The draft was still there, pushing out from the cracks like the wall was breathing, shallow and slow. He fetched his tools from the garage, hammer, chisel, a dust mask. He told himself it was just curiosity, maybe some bonus storage space. But deep down, something felt heavier, like he wasn't making a choice at all, just following something. The first brick came out easier than expected, so did the second. The cement was old, brittle. Flakes of mortar crumbled in his hands like ash. Within an hour, he had carved out a hole big enough to shine a light through. The beam revealed stone, rough steps leading downward. Dust hung in the air like it hadn't been disturbed in decades. He hesitated. Then he ducked and stepped through. The air inside was colder. Not like a normal basement chill. It was sharp, almost metallic. His breath fogged in front of him as he moved carefully down the stairs, flashlight flickering against damp stone walls. At the bottom was a small chamber, empty, silent. The walls were bare stone, except for one area where something had been scratched deeply into the surface. Tom stepped closer, squinting. Numbers. Faint but deliberate, carved with something sharp. 99 below it. A line was etched through, as if someone had crossed it out. His flashlight flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. He scanned the room again. In the far wall was a rusted metal door. Old and corroded, with no handle. It didn't look like it had been opened in decades. As he stepped closer, something groaned behind it. Tom froze. The sound was low, mechanical, rhythmic. Tick, tick, tick. He backed away, heart thudding. The stairs creaked behind him, but when he turned, no one was there. He left the basement quickly, sealed the wooden panel, put everything back exactly as it had been. That night, sleep didn't come easy. And when he finally drifted off, he dreamed of a voice counting, slowly, softly, 98, 97, 96. When he woke the next morning, sweat-soaked and shaken, the first thing he did was rush back downstairs. He opened the panel, and there, beneath the scratched-out 99, was a new carving. 98. No one else had been in the house. Tom didn't sleep that night. Tom stared at the new number carved into the stone wall. 98. His hands shook as he ran them across the scratch, hoping, praying it was just a mistake. But the etching was fresh, cleaner than the rest, sharper. He took photos, measured it, compared it to the one from yesterday. There was no doubt. It had changed. By the next morning, it had changed again. 97. He didn't touch the wall. He didn't go near the rusted metal door, but something behind it had awakened. He could feel it. Every night he'd hear it faintly from his bedroom, a distant ticking noise like the winding of a grandfather clock echoing up through the floorboards. And the whispering started. Soft at first, barely there. But every night it grew clearer. His name repeated over and over, always spoken in reverse. Mott, Mott, Mott. One night at 3:33 a.m., he woke to find his feet covered in dirt, soil beneath his fingernails, a flashlight in his pocket. He checked the footage from the hallway camera he'd installed. At 3:12 a.m., Tom, or someone that looked like him, walked slowly down the stairs. He never came back up. But he was here now, wasn't he? He rushed to the basement. The number on the wall now read 91, and beneath it, new scratches. Words this time. You start at 99. You end at 1. Then I begin. Tom tried everything. He resealed the wall, moved a bookcase in front of it, left the house for 3 nights in a row, but every morning when he returned, the number had dropped. 87, 86, 85. He contacted a priest. The man didn't even step inside, just stood on the porch, whispered a quick prayer, and left without charging. You shouldn't be here, he said. That place is counting down to something you won't survive. Tom stopped sleeping. Every reflection he passed seemed a second too slow. In one, he swore he saw his mouth move, but he hadn't spoken. On the final night, the number hit 1. Tom stood in the basement, flashlight flickering, breath shaking. He stared at the wall. For the first time, the rusted metal door creaked open. From behind it came the sound of breathing. Not fast, not ragged, calm, steady, familiar. He stepped forward. Inside, the room was bare, stone walls and a single mirror on the far end. But his reflection wasn't right. It was smiling. Who are you? Tom whispered. The reflection blinked. I'm who you were, it said in his voice. Before the countdown, before you let it out. Tom backed away, but his feet felt heavy, cold. He looked down. His skin was graying, veins turning black. He could no longer hear his own heartbeat. The mirror figure stepped forward. You reached 1, it whispered. Now I begin. Tom tried to scream, but no sound came out. The light went out. The house on Whitlock Lane is still there, still sealed, still quiet. A for sale sign went up last week. It's a bargain, really. Just a bit of a fixer-upper. Oh, and the basement, still sealed, for now.